week 11. Is everybody able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, we're going to be talking about helping the mentee to progress through personal accountability. Now, this is kind of an interesting subject in that, when I went to school, I had to do certain things and get certain grades, and I became very accountable because I knew in order to get to medical school, I had to get really good grades, and since nobody out of my college at the time had ever gotten into medical school, I knew I had to appear different and become more. So I became very accountable. I did sports, I did, all kinds of academics, and then I learned all the different things about the different medical schools and how I should approach them. And so when I went out and interviewed for medical school, I knew enough about that particular school to talk intelligently to the professors about the good things and the bad things about the medical school. And it really impressed them. And it impressed them so much, I got into 10 different medical schools. I actually got accepted. And I was really amazed by this because, I was told, my main advisor in Southern Utah College, which was the name of the college I went to in Cedar City. It's now Southern Utah State University. But it's interesting, my main advisor said, Scott, you're never going to get in medical school. And here I was able to get into 10 different schools. So it was interesting when I went back and I talked to him, he said to me, Scott, you're blazing new trails for people. And it was because I knew I had to be accountable. I knew I had to do what was necessary to accomplish my goals. Now, the same thing happens with our mentees. We have to help them be accountable for what they're doing in their life, for the things they're doing that are keeping them from moving forward. And we are there to enlighten them. In other words, to enlighten means to lift a load or make it more light. We as enlightened beings, that's what our job is. We're here to help assist and make the load lighter. One of the things Jesus taught was, give me what's bugging you down, what's heavy, and I will make your load light. So what was Jesus actually talking about? He was talking about being a mentor. And he was going to help assist people to make their burdens lighter by teaching them, mentoring them, assisting them with their lives. So personal accountability means to give satisfactory reasons or explanations for personal actions or inactions. So in other words, sometimes we'll get on with a mentee and they haven't done a dang thing, and they've got all kinds of excuses why they didn't do something. And so maybe the goal was too lofty. Maybe they didn't believe they could obtain it. And so we have to relook at things. And we as mentors, and I know all of you are very seasoned, which means you're here listening to this because this is something that Saint Germaine, the Ascended Masters, believe you can do. So you're here and you've been through a lot. Most of us who are spiritual, You know, it's like Vicky always tells this joke, and I'll probably tell it wrong. You want to tell it to him?
About Jesus never walked in a room?
No, about how... Well, essentially what it is most religious people are trying to not go to hell.
Religious people are afraid to go to hell. Spiritual people have already been there.
Religious people are afraid to go to hell. Spiritual people have already been there. I love that. What's the Jesus thing you were going to say?
Oh, that Jesus never walked in a room and said, "Yo, I'm Jesus," because his essence was big enough.
Exactly. When Jesus would walk into a room, he never had to announce, "I'm Jesus." People just looked at him and they felt the energy. They knew he was an ascended being of light and love. All of you, believe it or not, are bright lights that are here to help show the way for others. And so helping people be accountable and moving forward in their life is a very important task that has been given to each one of us. Now, this is an old slide, but personal accountability, mentors help focus actions to accomplish the desires of the mentees. And that's why it's real important we get to know the mentees first, find out what their desires are, find out where they're at, where they want to be. And so that's why this is important. And the whole reason our mentees can't get to that where they want to be is there's walls. And we've talked about how to break down those walls and help them accomplish and be where they want to be. Now, getting past the wall or blocks, mentors help the mentee accomplish goals and desires they were unable to obtain on their own. You know, most people here in the United States, literally 0.5% of the population is in a spiritual mindset. You are a part of that 0.5%. Now, of that 0.5%, how many are actually actively waking people up and helping them to become a part of that 0.5%? Believe it or not, 0.5% of the population of the United States is only about 500,000 people. Now, the amount that are actually actively doing what the Ascended Masters want us to do is about 300,000. So about half of what is there. So it's very important that we all wake up, because we are spiritual beings, and we start doing what we know we're supposed to do, which is service to others. Now, Jesus came to me just before I went to Colorado. Sheila was asking me, okay, I want answers to questions, current questions from the Ascended Masters, Jesus, you know, all of the beings out there, you know, even Ashtar. And so I asked questions. And one of the things I asked Jesus was, who is going to be allowed to go through the Ascension? And he said, everybody who gets ready. And I said, how many are ready? And that's when he said 300,000. And then I asked him, well, how with only that many do we get more ready for the Ascension? He says, Scott, you're doing it. You're starting it right now. You're mentoring people to mentor others to get woke up and started on their path to the Ascension. And I thought, well, geez, that's, you know, there's 15, 16 of us. What do we do? And so basically Jesus said, you know, we're going to take you few and turn it into many by mentoring a few you can take and build and build and build. You know, there's only 6 degrees of separation. So once we get through the first degree, then we get to the second degree, we'll just start spreading this as fast as could be. Now, helping your mentee to progress, when there is a problem, the common person in their search for answers will look outside of themselves. We talked about this last time. They'll blame others. But we teach them personal accountability. In other words, the only reason they fail is their own failure to do the things that we talk about. And so our job as mentors is to give the mentee, help them find their own answers, assist them to take accountability for their success and or their failures. And we can do that by helping them be accountable. So how often do we get account from our mentees? Preferably, we give them assignments that they have to do every day. Now, the way people change is you do something different every day for 42 days. And you can do 1, 2, or 3 things. And so we teach them, okay, you want to do this certain goal, you need to do this every day for the next 42 days. And you know what happens? In the movie, what was the name of that movie where they talk about 42 days? It was a movie came out about 8 years ago. I'll think of the name here in a sec. But they taught in that movie that if you keep the same thought, the same feeling for 42 days, it actually changes the structure of the cells and the DNA inside the cells. If it's a positive thought, positive feeling, it increases the capacity of the DNA and of the cells. It makes them healthier. If it's a negative, it actually shrinks the DNA and shrinks the cells. And Bruce Lipton came out with a new video, and he talks about this same thing, how when we have negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions, we end up getting parasites, fungus, virus, and bad bacteria. But when we have good, positive emotions, thinking, voicing more positive things, we actually can raise our vibration, it improves our immune system, and we become healthier. And so it takes 42 days of maintaining those positive emotions, thoughts, words, whatever. But it does shift the body, and it shifts our cells. So commitment is what brings us the desire to accomplish tasks. Accountability keeps us on task. So how often should we check our mentee? I've been having my mentees now check in every day and at least say, I did what we talked about. And so it keeps them accountable every day. And if they don't check in, I send them a text asking them, did they do what they were supposed to do? Now, William Hutchison Murray made a quote, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves in. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. I learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream, you can do. Begin it. Boldness has genius, power and magic in it. Begin it now. That's again William Hutchison Murray. Now, so personal commitment leads to actions, and when you have a personal commitment, the heavens respond and support you. Now, isn't that cool? So, when we commit to do something and we ask for heaven's help, then it really gets behind us. So, accountability with another human being leads to accomplishment because you tell another human being you're committed. And when you do that, that commitment helps, and that other human being will help you also. Accomplishment leads to personal satisfaction. Personal satisfaction leads to happiness. Now, who the heck doesn't want to be happy? So one of the things that we're talking about is actually going to make people happy. Now, one of the things Jesus told me is that we don't want anybody in the fifth dimension who isn't happy, who isn't committed to being a better person, committed to being happy. He said, you have to commit and work 50%. If you do 50%, we will assist you with the other 50%. Isn't that amazing? We only have to do half what we need to do to get through the ascension. And the ascended masters are going to help us with the other half. Now, service to the others is divine. We have to learn service to others in order to go through the ascension. Positive goals and methods of accomplishment. The goals lead to personal fulfillment. Positive movement forward in one's life leads to additional desire to accomplish more. So if we can help people just get one thing that's closer to where they want to be, it's going to help them have additional desire and commitment to get further along. And personal accountability is what helps us with that. Now, one more thing, positive movement forward will lead us to the ascension. So all we have to do is just help people make baby steps, and that's going to move people forward. And that movement will bring more positive information into people's lives and an additional desire to even be better and accomplish more. So we are assisting everyone. The ascension is all about moving forward, not only spiritually, but mentally, emotionally, physically, into a higher state of being and evolving into what? Ascended masters. That's right. Once we ascend, we don't just stop. We go until we become ascended masters. Then we go through another evolution and into a higher dimension. Once we ascend, we will still continue to evolve and grow. So, personal accountability helps us to change old beliefs, old thought forms. Negative emotions need to be released. Forgiveness of self and others is paramount. Physical disease and disabilities need to be healed. Now, is this going to happen in this life? Absolutely. Jesus didn't come down and just teach us about love. He went around healing people, getting rid of negative entities. He went around teaching people, mentoring them, helping them to be better. And many of those men had no idea of what was actually going on. Even Peter, at the time when Jesus was asking him to be the leader of the church, or the leader of the movement, he didn't even have self-confidence enough to admit that he could do it. But Jesus